Hello everybody, this is GeneralJannis, and today in Chaos Tactics I'm looking at the question that was posted from my last video. What should we use for anti-vehicle? Should we use the Plagueburst Crawler or a Brigand? Which one is best in this role, or do we have some other alternatives? I will be looking at all this in this video. So with no further ado, let's get started. So today, the 13th of March, thank you all for the kind words on being back and making some videos. It really warms my heart to read all the nice comments that you guys are leaving here. In the meantime, since the last video, I have been enjoying a 1000 points game versus a friend's Tyranids and their death card, my death card with basically Plague Marines and Rhino reigned victorious on the battlefield, killing a lot of the big monsters like a Screamer Killer, and this big, the Psychophag and different Tyrannid units. It was a fun game, and we both have fun, and that's probably the most important thing. So in this video, as I said, what is better to use as shooting for big targets, a Plagueburst Crawler or a Brigand? And in this video, as I said, I will be looking at some other options, some bonus information for the Myphitic Blighthauelr, the Predator, and the Death Guard Land Raider even. So starting to look at this example here, so let's say that you are facing a Space Marine enemy and they have a Land Raider, probably filled with some nasty Terminators, trying to make it for your lines. What do we have that can make, what can shoot it and make it from a distance, try to reduce it or even kill it? So here we see a ruler here, try to indicate the range difference between the different options. If we start with a Plagueburst Crawler, it has its main weaponry has a 36-inch range. Here I'm assuming, of course, the entropy cannons and the slugger, but the entropy cannons and the mortar are not so strong. We have strength 10 and strength 8. The Land Raider is toughness 12 and has a hefty 2+ save. And here with shooting with line of sight, not assuming any cover here, we would be doing 3.6 wounds from a Plagueburst Crawler on the Land Raider. If we look at the Brigand, if the Brigand is at 24-inch range, it would be doing 3.9 wounds. It has a Demon Breath spear, which is strength 12. The Avenger Cannon is strength 6. But if it comes to a 12-inch range, it will be doing 7.4 wounds. Basically, the Melta, the Demon Breath spear, does a lot of nice damage at 12-inch range. So this is a high damage that the Brigand can do, much higher than the Plagueburst Crawler here, but of course it has to be closer. If we look at the Myphitic Blighthauelr, its main weaponry is only strength 9. 18-inch you have to be able to shoot the multi-melta, only doing 2.7 wounds here, even with a +1 to wound versus vehicles. And if you crawl up to 9 inches, so you're dangerously close to the enemy, then you can be doing 3.8 wounds, a little bit more than the Plagueburst Crawler, but the Plagueburst Crawler can do it from relative safety. And then some of the bonus bonus units that could be shooting from further away. We have the Predator Annihilator here. I'm assuming the Twin Las Cannon and the Las Cannon sponsor guns. These are basically very good anti-vehicle weapons with strength 14 for the turret weapon, strength 12 for the sponsor weapons. This would be doing 4.2 wounds, and this can do it from 48 inches, and you don't have the smaller weaponry shooting at the Land Raider at this distance. If you go closer, you can add a little bit more, but you can sit very distant and take some wounds here. A Land Raider, for comparison, it has 2 Soul Shatter, let's say, Las Cannons. They are strength 12. It can do 4 wounds, but of course it's much more expensive than the Predator Annihilator. But you can see also here, it's not very easy to take out, to make 16 wounds on this type of very robust enemy unit. Now on this page here, if we assume that we put the enemy in contagion, here I'm assuming a small Myphitic Blighthauelr has crawled up close to the Land Raider, and thus the Land Raider is in -1 toughness, and maybe if you have selected so that it has -1 save, then all the units can do more damage. You see the Plagueburst Crawler is up to 4.9 wounds. Now the Brigand is also can do quite hefty damage. From at 12-inch it could be doing 11 wounds, so that's quite nicely done on the Land Raider. The Myphitic Blighthauelr a bit higher here, 3.4 wounds or 4.8 wounds at 9 inches. And we see also good damage from the Predator Annihilator, 6.2 wounds, and with the enemy being in -1 toughness, the strength 12 Land Raider weapons benefit quite a lot here. 6.7 wounds. The the Plagueburst Crawler doesn't benefit so much from the toughness in this example. It's more the -1 save, because the entropy cannons will still be wounding on 5s and 6s. So it's a bit, you need to roll some hot dice with the Plagueburst Crawler, getting some of the lethal hits to be able to do some damage to the Land Raider. Then in this table we have the damage output of this from the Plagueburst Crawler, the Brigand, the Myphitic Blighthauelr, Predator, Annihilator, and Land Raider versus variety of targets at 24 inches, 12 inches, and then you see with and without the contagion and the -1 save, and you see also what is the damage versus infantry and some other, let's say, lighter toughness enemy vehicles. We see that, for example, if there is a Rhino, the opposite side, we see the Plagueburst Crawler also can do some nice damage there, because toughness 9, then it could be, yeah, wounding much better with the entropy cannons. It's basically the Land Raider is one of the toughest targets with toughness 12, or a big scary Canis Rex Knight. And I know it's not exactly the same model here on the table. We see if we look at the Brigand, having the Avenger chain cannon, it can do also, it's quite versatile, because you can do nice damage versus both infantry and vehicles, and it comes to life, let's say, with the spear, as I said, the Melta effect kicking in at 12 inches, so you can do some nice damage here. This is not point corrected, and I have to say the comma points are the decimal points in my Excel. This is it, and you see the Myphitic Blighthauelr, not let's say, yeah, it's a bit more lackluster here, even at 9 inches. And we see the Predator Annihilator. This is a good, let's say, long range option, and it's and offers good range, and it's cheaper. Then in this table we see the overall comparison now, where we are doing per point. So per 100 points, the damage you saw in the previous table, because these units all cost differently, where do you get the most bang for your buck? So you can see, for example, the Plagueburst Crawler is 180 points. There you can see at 36 inches it will be doing 2.3 wounds on average, versus the average of this vehicle you saw on the previous page. So let's say a sort of mean value here per 100 points. So in essence, it's doing more, but yeah, you could almost get 2 Myphitic Blighthauelrs for that cost. But we see here, with indicated with the green highlighted, the Brigand, if it's firing at the closest enemy, especially versus vehicles at 12-inch range, it gives the highest damage output per point. At 9 inch, the Myphitic Blighthauelr is also offering good value for your buck, but again, 9 inches dangerously close to the enemy here. And here we see the Predator Annihilator can be sitting at longer ranges and offer you some better value versus vehicles compared to the Plagueburst Crawler, because it's cheaper. And Land Raider is primarily a transport. It has some nice shooting, but it's not for standing back and providing you the anti-vehicle support. In the table to the bottom, you see the same comparison, but we see here if the enemy is in contagion and -1 save. So interestingly enough, for the vehicles, the Predator Annihilator is the cheapest option with the longest range. The Brigand is quite versatile, as you can see. Also for infantry, it has the highest values per point, even at 170 points here. And the Myphitic Blighthauelr could have been a bit better, if at least the multi-melta, if it had a 24-inch range, so that we could be doing the damage from further away. Finally, and as a bonus for the math stats here, so we have been looking at what damage the various vehicles could do to the Land Raider. In the bottom left is the previous data here. But let's say if we take a big Plague Marine squad here, I'm assuming the champion with the plague weapon and the plasma gun. We have 4 guys with the heavy plague weapons. We have 2 blight launchers and 2 melta guns. I kind of like this configuration because it gives you a little bit more shooting. And 1 guy with a bolter here. It could have been some other weapon, but okay. And then Biologous Putrefier for the 5+ critical hits. And here you can see this is 230 points. If they disembark from a Rhino, shoot the Land Raider at 12-inch, with this configuration, you will be doing 5.7 wounds with Biologus and having the Land Raider with -1 toughness and -1 save contagion. Then if they come to melee, 9.7 wounds with no further strats. If you had the bubotic weapons, you could be doing more in melee, but then you wouldn't have the Meltas doing some stuff. If the Meltas were shooting at 6 inches, you would be doing more. So in this configuration, with shooting at 12 inches or 6, let's say, and then melee, you can almost kill the the Land Raider. But then, of course, if the Land Raider is filled with Terminators, they would come out and attack you again. But at least you took down the Land Raider here. So, reaching to the summary and final thoughts, I think the Brigand, as we have been talking previously, has a very good data sheet, hitting at 2 pluses, but needs to come into 12-inch range to do the most with its Demon Breath Spear versus vehicles, but it has very good versatility also versus infantry. And it can, although it cannot be buffed directly with Death Guard stratagems and things like that, being a Dreadblade ally, but it can benefit nicely from the target being in -1 toughness and -1 save contagion, for example, offering some versatile shooting and can operate quite alone. The Plagueburst Crawler, if people that have been following my channel for long know that I have I'm very fond of my Plagueburst Crawlers. I typically always play with Plagueburst Crawlers, but as a dedicated anti-toughness, high toughness vehicle, it's not the best. The mortar is good versus infantry and targets with less toughness. It has good synergies with Mortarion and Lord of Ireland, having the blast mortar, but it's a bit expensive at 180 points. But it's not that you can expect the Plagueburst Crawlers to take out heavy vehicles from a distance. The Predator Annihilator in this respect is cheaper and can do some very good damage at long range versus vehicle. It's basically an anti-vehicle platform here. The Myphitic Blighthauelr, I've been ranting about that before. It suffers from the range of 18, even if it has a nice rule, +1 to wound, but strength 9, +1 to wound, yeah, versus this toughness 12 things, it's not so easy. And maybe the best way for us to deal with very tough enemies is maybe to use the Plague Marines in Rhinos. Maybe it's the answer to the tough questions. So this concludes the video. What do you think about this analysis? Let me know if you have some questions, and if you have something else that you want to be analyzed, please post a question as a comment to this video, and maybe I can make another video when I have time again, hopefully soon. So thanks everybody for watching, and have a nice day. Bye bye.